You're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Hello. I just wanted to make a comment about Barr. He said that he's willing to allow the investigation, the Muller investigation, to continue, but the report might not be made public. And I find that an astounding statement. I thought the whole point was the American people wanted to know what had been going on all this time.
Yeah, Marion, I agree. I mean, I think a report like that should be public. I've actually, when I was elected in the very beginning, and specifically the beginning when Donald Trump got elected, there was a report that I had said we should have made public because I went and read it in a classified setting. So often, this information isn't classified for national security reasons, in my opinion. It's classified to protect certain interests that are more political in nature. And something like this, our tax dollars pay for the federal government. We should have every bit of information about our democracy. And I disagree with what Barr said. So hopefully what will come out of having the Democrats in the majority in the House is many of the investigations that we will begin now that I think by the end of the week all the committees will have been populated with members. We can start the oversight process. We'll get a lot more information for the public that is long overdue since Paul Ryan abdicated his responsibility to do so when he was the Speaker.
Marty in Portland, Oregon. You're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Yes, Congressman Pocan. I had a question regarding my HUD housing and my SNAP. I'm a disabled veteran here in Portland, Oregon. I have been on the streets before, living on the streets, and haven't been for the last 3 years. I've been in this HUD housing, and I'm just wondering if this shutdown goes beyond March, because I've talked to the people in HUD. And if it goes beyond March, they don't really seem to have the funding, and the same with the SNAP program. Can you please address that for me? Thank you.
Yeah, Marty, first of all, thank you for your service. I'm sorry about the situation that you've had to have in parts of your life being homeless, and, we owe it to you not to have that happen. I visited our homeless veterans facilities in Wisconsin, and I know what you're going through. So as far as what we're hearing on the shutdown, again, February payment should be okay, although we're having some housing issues already, where we've got some areas where we're running into problems and have to convince landlords to be patient given what's happened. But this is why Donald Trump doesn't understand real people are impacted. People who put their life on the line for the country are now worried about whether or not they have a roof over their head or food to eat, just so that he can, again, continue to try to find a changing of the subject. That's why I and many find this completely wrong, disgraceful that this is what the president's doing. So we're going to fight to make sure that happens. I think the good news of the week, if it gives you any hope, is that they are starting to notice that some of these things have to happen. That's why they've ordered some people back at the IRS and at the FAA and some other agencies. So I think, this was done without any preparation, and I think we will get out of this. I just don't know quite how the president will get that done yet.
Linda in Holbrook, Massachusetts. You're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking my call. My question is, why do the Democrats not blame the entire Republican Party instead of just focusing on Donald Trump all the time? He would not have the power that he has if they weren't standing complicit with him. And I think they are totally responsible, and I put the blame squarely on them. And I saw a poll this morning on the Morning Joe show that said they blame only 5% Republicans. But I noticed Democrats don't blame the Republicans either. They say, oh, that Donald Trump. I'm just saying I think that he wouldn't have the power he has if the Republican Party, the entire Republican Party passed that tax cut.
Yeah,
the entire Republican Party almost.
Linda, we got it. Let's let Congressman Pocan respond.
Yeah, Linda, no, I hear what you're seeing, and I think what gets reported, and I think for the most part you're right. The focus has been on the president since he said he would take ownership on it. What can you get more than his own words on video telling the Democratic leaders that he's taking ownership for the shutdown, although, of course, he's trying to shed that now. We have put more pressure on Mitch McConnell because Mitch McConnell's saying he won't take things up in the Senate that we're sending over. We've had many votes to hold House Republicans accountable, but interestingly, we're being joined by a number of Republicans each time we do these votes. So you're right. It should be bigger focused, but I think when you have the President of the United States say so very publicly that he's taking ownership. That's probably why most of the focus has been on him and, by extension, the Republicans in Congress.
Ed in Belfair, Washington. 2 minutes to the end of the hour, Ed. Quick question.
Good morning, Congressman Pocan. Mine has to do with the federal workers. Thank them for coming into work without pay. But if the ATF and the air traffic controllers were to actually walk off the job, could Mr. Trump have a national emergency and stick military personnel or the National Guard in those positions? Thank you.
Yeah, Ed, I think he could. I mean, there's a problem. Also, if they don't show up, they don't get paid under the furlough rules. So it's an even greater hardship. Like they won't get back pay. Like we voted to do that. So, one of the things I think that if I was a TAA worker or an air traffic controller, I would have to look at how do you make Republicans understand something. The best way they understand things, I found, is when they're personally impacted. When a member has a gay son or a lesbian daughter, they suddenly might be for equality, but it takes them being affected personally. On Thursday between noon and 3, out of 2 airports in Washington, D.C., 90% of the members of Congress will be flying. If I worked for one of those agencies, I certainly think I would find a way to make it very personal about what the impact of their jobs are since they have to work for no pay. I just think they need to send a bigger message, but I don't think it's to not show up. And I've talked to them. They also are very committed to their jobs, but we need to make Republican members of Congress feel it personally, unfortunately, to make them understand what they're doing to the country. Yeah.
We have a lot of TSA members who listen to the show. If all the times that I get recognized in airports are any indication, and I said on the air a couple days ago, close down the pre-lines first, and you're going to have some serious leverage. Now, I'm not, I'm not asking you to recommend that, obviously, but
I'll tell you, I'm just saying, if I was a TSA agent in Washington, D.C. at either Dulles or National Airport between 12 and 3 on Thursday when 90% of the members are flying through there, I would find a clever way to make sure I get their attention. I find it hard not to say that.
And it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Yeah. Congressman Pocan, thanks so much for dropping by again this week.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom, and thanks for your listening.
It is such a pleasure to have you with us every week taking these calls. Congressman Mark Pocan, thank you. Congressman Pocan's website is pocan.house.gov. You can tweet him at Rep. Mark Pocan.